Arcade races used to be a dime a dozen. You couldn't look anywhere in a game shop without seeing a plethora of these available for you to choose from. However, over the last decade or so, things have really changed. Most games in the racing genre aim for realism over fun factor, and with that, the arcade racer has seemingly begun to die out. By no means does that mean the arcade racer is completely dead and buried. Of course, there has been a few standouts over the years, but definitely in recent times, it's become more of a rarity as everyone seems to be pushing for that realism aspect. However, there's been one single arcade racer that I've been keeping my eye on for a few years now, and it's by the developers called Free Fields Entertainment. As for the company themselves, they are built up of previous developers of the Burnout series, almost like the holy grail of the arcade racing genre. Now, of course, most recently, Free Fields Entertainment have been working on a game called Wreckreation. This seems to be almost the ultimate arcade racer. It definitely appears to be the most ambitious project I've ever seen from an arcade racing game, period. This looks to be absolutely massive, combining many different elements into a single package. Now, of course, when it comes to Free Fields Entertainment, this isn't their first jump into the genre since Burnout. They have gone back to the arcade racer a few times, mainly with Danger Zone 1 and 2, which was essentially crash mode slapped into a single product, and of course, most recently in 2019, Dangerous Driving, which was an arcade racer that I personally felt went under many people's radar. I thought overall this was an incredible racing game, and whilst it certainly needed a bit of extra content and a bit of extra polish, it seems to be transferring well over into this recent game. Now, I first ever became aware of Wreckreation in 2022, and when it comes to 2022 and 2023, it was a little bit confusing as to what the game was really trying to do. Was it just one big open world sandbox in which you just go ahead and make designs, or was it sticking with the sort of arcade racing theme? And it seems to be that this game is pretty much doing everything in one, to the point where the sky is literally the limit. You can go ahead and build up some ridiculous creation and of course share it with your friends, or you can go ahead and do the racing side of things as well. Basically, your imagination is going to limit what you actually get out of this product, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's basically a game with endless possibilities. Now, I will definitely admit, when I first saw the game a few times, I was incredibly skeptical. Of course, Free Fields Entertainment are a relatively small company, especially in comparison to the likes of, the Burnout games back then. There's not absolutely everybody from those projects working on this title. And games have come a long way. So I was definitely skeptical, especially when everything went quiet in 2024. And it seemed like this game was all but dead. But no, it has made a return in 2025. And really, when it comes to what the game is, I would say it's almost like a mix of those Burnout games of old with a little bit of BeamNG, where you can almost think up and do pretty much anything and everything. Of course, we did get that most recent trailer, and I'll show that off in a few seconds and we'll talk about it in more detail. But first, let's head over to the website to see exactly what this game is promising. So as we can see on the official website, this is Arcade Racing. It's an open world arcade racing game featuring high speed driving, racing, crashing, stunts and exploration. Mix your car, paint colours, finishers, wheels, boost flames, engine sounds, glass colours, tyres, brake lights, you name it. Vehicle options will be right there from the taking from the beginning. Mix your world, place jumps, loops, stunt ramps, pipes and moving obstacles almost anywhere in your mix world. Build roads on and off-road, out to the sea or up to the sky. Mix modes, you are the game DJ, you create and control the gameplay. This can be a race to the next intersection or a team stunt event. You can even share your creations with the community. Wreckreation offers its own FM radio featuring 16 stations ranging from disco to gospel or from movie music to smooth jazz. Mix it all, choose time of day, weather and traffic. What happens in your mix world is up to you. At the click of a button, change the time, change the weather and turn the traffic on or off. Be a record breaker, set records 7 different ways every time you drive and define how your friends can challenge you by locking different record types to different roads. This was something that we saw in Burnout Paradise a long time ago. I remember trying to go for these all the time. They were absolutely awesome, and it seems like they are returning it to Wreckreation. Billboards, smash 3 different types of billboards. Ad breaks can be just broken. Promotional stunts need a special stunt, and rectaculars track your biggest stunt score as you hit them. Again, billboards were an integral part of games like Burnout Paradise, and once again, they're coming back with different types this time. So if you're just going to try and smash a promotional stunt, you'll need to actually do a special stunt itself, or there is no way it's going to be able to be broken. Of course, ad breaks are just your typical drive-through billboards, and rectaculars will track your biggest stunt as you hit them, which I think is a nice way to kind of, mix up different types of collectibles. And then we also have vacant lots. Empty areas you'll discover offer an opportunity to build structures that can have an impact. Example, at a police station and see more of a police presence. So what there seems to be is different ways to really kind of mix your gameplay up with these vacant lots, which I think is just a nice touch to add to the world building that is more than likely going to go on here. There's going to be some ridiculous things on offer, as some people are incredibly creative and can really get the most out of games like this. Now, of course, there was a recent showcase trailer shown off yesterday, and whilst there was a lot of hype built up around it, unfortunately it did come in at just under 50 seconds of showing off the gameplay. But we did get a better idea of the game and also get a look at what seems to be a lot of improvements, especially graphically. I feel like this game has kind of stepped up in terms of the graphics. It's by no means a world beater, but things such as the destruction, car damage and environments, and especially the car models themselves, look a lot better now. Now, as mentioned earlier on in the video, I was incredibly skeptical over Wreckreation for one main reason. In 2024, it was complete radio silence, and I think a lot of people, myself included, assumed that this project had just kind of bitten off more than it could chew and was pretty much completely dead. Thankfully, that has not been the case, and when it comes to that most recent 2025 trailer, one thing it did get right was the fact that it moved away from just showing off the playground features like 2022 and 2023 did, and went more into showing off the main meat of any arcade racer: the driving, the crashes, and of course an absolute ton of boost. We did still see a lot of the playground aspects in the background and such, but this seemed to be mainly showing off the polish to the game and of course showing off the actual driving, and it does look like incredible fun and frantic action all around. So of course, with the arcade racing genre kind of dying off over the last decade or so, Wreckreation really seems to be almost a return to form. Again, this isn't going to be any full AAA release, and of course it is a smaller team, but definitely supporting this kind of project shows off proper creativity in the racing genre, something I feel it's lacked for a very, very long time. So for me, this is definitely one I'm going to keep my eyes on, and I think it could be almost as close to arcade perfection as we will see in recent times. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.